Today's episode is all about plant-based vegan butters. Whether you're avoiding dairy, either due to an intolerance or allergies, or perhaps for general health reasons, or maybe animal welfare reasons, or perhaps all of the above, like me, then I made this video exactly for you. This video has 3 parts. In the first part, I'm going to show you how to make your own vegan butter. Yes, you can make your own butter at home. It's so fast to make and it's absolutely delicious. In the second part of the video, I'm going to show you 5 commercially available vegan butters, and I'm going to go over a review of each. I'm going to show you in the third part how to make a delicious butter board. This is a board with 3 different rounds of butter with 3 different flavored toppings. One is a salted caramel and dark chocolate. The other is a pistachio and dried cranberries. And the third is topped with a s'mores topping. And if you add peanuts, you can make it a chocolate marshmallow and peanut topping. This includes all the dippables that you may like, such as cookies and pretzels and crackers. Let's start with making homemade vegan butter. For this recipe, you need 1 cup of raw cashews. You want to soak them overnight in water or soak them for 20 minutes in boiling water and then drain them. You also want 1/2 cup of water, 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 cup of melted refined coconut oil, 4 tablespoons of avocado oil, 1/8 teaspoon of turmeric, and then you're also going to want to have 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. You can melt your coconut oil in a microwavable bowl in the microwave. Add the drained cashews, the salt and turmeric, and the lemon juice and water to a blender, and then blend that all together until it's smooth. Then add the coconut oil and the olive oil to the mixture. Blend this all again for a few minutes until you have a very smooth and creamy mixture. Take a small container or butter mold. And if you're using a container, then line that with a wet parchment paper so that the butter doesn't stick to the container. Pour the mixture into the mold and make sure that the edges of the parchment paper are flattened out so that you have a nice square or rectangular butter shape. And then smooth the top a bit with a spoon so that the top is also nice and smooth. Seal the container and place it in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours, preferably overnight, to allow the butter to harden. After the butter becomes firm, remove the parchment paper, and you can cut off the edges to make a nice block of European-style butter. Since this is quite large and you need to consume it within 4 days, what I did was I cut off a section and I wrapped it in parchment paper and put it in the freezer to have for a later time. This butter is a rich and indulgent treat. It has a slight tang to it, almost similar to the Miyoko's brand butter. I haven't tried baking or cooking with this, but I can imagine it's delicious on some rice or potatoes or stirred into some vegetables. As far as baking, I need to experiment with that because of the cashews. However, I did test it on a piece of toast and it melts beautifully and it has a wonderful, rich flavor. Let's move on to the vegan butter review. I picked 5 from my local grocery stores. Miyoko's is known for its rich, tangy, cultured flavor, and it has a firm texture due to its low water and high fat content, which makes it good for delicate baking, such as for pie crust or cookies, and frosting that need to hold their shape. It does contain coconut oil and cashew milk. Violife has a nice buttery flavor, and like Miyoko's, it does have a low water content and a high fat content, which makes it good for baking pie crust and cookies, and also for frostings that need to hold their shape. It also does contain coconut oil, and instead of cashews, however, it has a fava bean protein. Melt organic plant butter is slightly softer than Violife and Miyoko's because of a higher water-to-fat ratio, but it does have a nice butter flavor. It's good for baking items that don't require structure, such as brownies or cakes and muffins. In general, it will work for frostings, but it may not be great for piping due to its soft texture. And it also does contain coconut oil. Trader Joe's organic buttery spread in a tub is very similar to Melt as far as the water-to-fat ratio and performance with baking and making frosting. I really enjoyed the flavor of this spread. It does contain coconut and palm oil. Earth Balance is very similar to margarine and has a slightly salty taste and is slightly oily. As far as baking and frosting performance, it's similar to Melt and Trader Joe's, but it does not contain cashews or coconuts, and they even have a soy-free version. Let's move on to making the vegan dessert butter board. On this board, we have a butter topped with a dark chocolate sauce and marshmallow cream and peanuts, another with pistachios and dried cranberries, and a third with salted caramel sauce and a dark chocolate sauce topped with sea salt. And then in the front, we have the dippables, that is cookies and crackers and pretzels used to dip and scoop these delicious butters. To make a butter board, whether it's sweet or savory, you just simply take your vegan butter of choice and you smear it on the board and in different sections. This is quite a small board, so I picked 3 separate sections with 3 small rounds of butter, and you top it with your toppings of choice. I will show you quickly how to make the caramel sauce, the chocolate sauce, and the marshmallow cream. To make the vegan caramel sauce, you need 1 cup of coconut cream. That's the thick part of a can of coconut milk. In the alternative, you can use a can of coconut cream and just scoop out the thick part. You also need 3/4 cup of sugar, used cane sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Place the sugar and then the coconut cream in a pan on top of the stove, and then mix in the salt. And you're going to want to heat all of this until it melts, and then you're going to bring it to a low boil, and you're going to continue stirring for approximately 10 minutes until it becomes thick and sticks to your spoon. But you don't want to cook too long or it starts turning into a harder candy. You just want to cook for about 10 minutes. Allow this to cool and store it in the fridge. It will thicken in the fridge, and you can use it over the course of a few days. To make a quick chocolate sauce, you need dairy-free chocolate chips and some type of vegan creamer. And then take about 1/2 cup of the chocolate chips and put it in a microwavable bowl and start microwaving in 30-second increments, stirring in between each microwave so that the chocolate chips slowly melt. And then you're going to want to add about 2 tablespoons of the vegan creamer and stir that in and just give it a slight warm in the microwave. The initial texture may be thick like a ganache, and in such case, if you want it thinner, you can always add water and just stir that in to thin out the sauce. Store this in the fridge and use within 3 days. If it hardens in the fridge, just microwave to soften. To make a marshmallow sauce, just use a vegan marshmallow cream or even marshmallows and place these in a microwavable bowl and melt them in the microwave at about 30-second increments, and then just add about 2 tablespoons of water and stir, and it turns into a sauce. To assemble the butter board, just simply spread your rounds of butter on the board. For the salted caramel flavored one, just add the chocolate sauce and the caramel sauce and some flaked sea salt on top. For the s'mores one, add the chocolate sauce and the marshmallow cream, and you can add peanuts if you like. And the other is simple, just to add the pistachios and the dried cranberries. And then add your dippables, your pretzels, cookies, and crackers. Well, that concludes our butter extravaganza. Let me know in the comments if you'd like reviews of other plant-based essentials, such as milks or maybe cheeses. And also, as I always say in every video, please let me know in the comments if you have a favorite food that you would like me to convert to a gluten-free and vegan recipe, because I welcome that challenge.